Thong. Today we're going to do the RISM Graduate Entry Exam, and we're going to do what we call AV2, and we are doing the 2023 question. Now, the objective today is not to show how to calculate, but we are learning the technique of how to identify the question, to which valuation method or approach that we need to use. Now, the first one, of course, is it's a theory question. This one is a theory question. Yeah. So basically, you must have your strong ability on plant and machinery inspection. Yeah, which is based on MBS standard 2025. You must know which one is under inspection. Then the next one is to differentiate between economic lifespan and uneconomic lifespan of the plant and machinery, which is expired. Basically, the machine already been used for 5 years. The total lifespan of the machine can be used for 80 years. Already 5 years been gone, you left only 75 unexpired. There's also another one versus unexpired. Okay, economic lifespan. Well, okay, so that will be the first part. Now we're gonna do what we're going to look in also in the question 2, and our goal is to identify. Most of our students do express their concern that they are not able to identify the method, the valuation method, or the approach for each of the question. Now let's look at question 2. Okay, in question 2, we are looking at your company is instructed for the purpose build Cineplex. Now, from what we know in AV2, cinema or Cineplex, the difference is Cineplex is cinema in a shopping mall, right? So we call it a Cineplex, just a different term, right? We know this particular cinema, we use what we call a profit method, and a profit method, it falls in income approach. So this word income is the key driver. Now allow me to erase this so that I have more space to work with in this whole place. Yes, Cineplex. So the next thing we can read on is, of course, the inspection. It has a lettable space. This is the space in square meters, and the most important part of the information is here, freehold. So when it's in profit method, when it's freehold, it becomes YP in per. Okay. So how do we know that, right? So YP, first thing first, let's look at profit method. Profit method, if you've been following my class, it will be first calculate earnings, income, earnings, yes, or income. Then the next part, of course, is less OPEX, business OPEX, business expenses, yeah. Okay, so you know that. Then the third part you get is what we call net profit, and then another technical term that we're going to use for profit method is divisible balance. Okay, and then after divisible balance, we have to again, number 4, less tenant or operator share. If not given, we will of course assume at 40%, and you write down as an assumption. Assumption, yeah? Assumption. Yeah. Okay. After you less that, we get the most important thing. Let me change this into a green color. Okay, green color. Okay. And we get what we call number 5, gross annual rent. Now let me move this up, and then we less number 6, we less outgoings. Now some question they may give you the outgoings, some they do not. If you do not, you take 20%. If you wish, you can also take 10%. Now come to the last part. Of course, you have come back, you got number 7, net annual rent. Yeah, here is the part. Let me change the color again. Now I'm going to use dark purple. We capitalize it at YP in per. In this case will be 1 over I, the formula. And finally, what we get is the information we want is market number 9, market value. Yep. This one will be of course number 8. So let me repeat this. First, in the profit method, in all profit method earnings, we start with calculating the income, the OPEX, the expenses, and then the net balance, and then less the tenant share of the operator. But in this case, you will see that there is a 4.1 here. Yeah, there is a 4.1, which is the interest. You have to less after the operator, you also have to less interest on capital, which we will place here. In this case, the item will be X11, right? Number 7, which is this one here. Okay. So now let us look. I have this formula here. I'm going to change this to, okay, black. Okay, done. I'm going to match. Now the first part here, in profit method, we have 2 types of methods. One is called throughput method, and throughput is what we call unit volume base. Okay, this is one. The second one is called accounts method, where they provide you with data in lump sum. Lump sum. Okay. Sorry, let me erase this one. In lump sum. So we got 2. So now let's look at the question. I will erase this off so that I can use the space. Now, the Cineplex, I'm starting here, has been operating for 6 years, and the last analysis for the 3 years operating review that they have this schedule at 11:30 a.m., 1:50 p.m. They run shows. Now you see this information here. This is unit. Unit is measured in seats. In this case, is 360 seats. 360 seats of cinema. Okay, and then if you take 360 times the price times how many times is full, in this case it's only 40%. Okay, 40% of the cinema at that time always run, you get what we call volume in, okay, earnings. To be more clearer, let me show you the formula. It will be income, Monday, with a S, Mondays every week. A cinema doesn't close, yeah, it will be 366 times RM 15 ringgit, okay, times again with 40 OR occupancy rate times of course 52 weeks. Why? Every 1 year there is 52 weeks. There are 52 times Mondays with an S. Of course, it also repeats itself for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But take note, on Saturday, Sunday, which I'm going to change this to red, Saturday has one extra night, okay, they call it midnight, and then Sunday has another extra here. So on Sunday, on Saturday, let me erase this. On Saturdays, you have this hour, this hour, this hour, this hour, plus the extra Saturday midnight. On Sunday, of course, it will be repeat by itself. On Sunday, you have this hour, this hour, this hour, this hour, plus the Sunday hour. So it has actually 5 shows on Sundays. Of course, it also has 5 shows on Saturday. But there is Monday to Friday, they only have 1, 2, 3, 4 shows. Okay, so when you're starting to go by volume, by seats, each unit is calculated in seats. You multiply them together, you get what we call volume. What we call is throughput method. Okay, so this one you need to calculate just like what you calculate how many handphones you sell at what price, and then how many handphones are sold each day. This is volume based. Now if you look at the second part, okay, they give you salary, they give you electricity, water, local films, they have foreign films, they have operating, and they give you on a yearly base, a monthly. This is a yearly base, this annualized, this is per month, so you need to annualize it times 12 times 12 times 12 times 12. This one is of course annualized A. This one you need to times 12 to get the proper figure. This is annualized. Okay, this is times 12 annualized, and the last one is of course annualized. Now remember, the capital does not go, we deduct it at this part here, which is less the divisible balance here, then less the operator share of 40% and the gross before the gross annual rent. So this is 4.1 for interest on capital. Just remember that, yeah. So let me erase this so we do a nicer clean slate. So the next page, you will see that they have already annualized this. Yeah, this is an A. That means no need to times 12 months. And the outgoings, in this particular case, there are sometimes, this question is very good, they separate nicely for you. But if you see business insurance, this is for the for the business operation. So this one will become as an expense. We call it OPEX. Right? Now, where else this one? you have fire insurance premium. This is for the property. In this case, is a cineplex, right? Then you have assessment rates and then quit rent and management. This is property management. So this is already in a year basis. This is per annum basis. So this is the same, and of course the same. Now you come to this question, it asks you suitable method for valuation, determine the market value of the subject property, okay, and you are to make assumption. Now if you look at this question, let me erase this, give you a clean slate. We can count, this is number one, earnings. Of course, then here to here is number two. Then of course you minus. Now we need number four. There is no number four. So you have to make assumptions made, and then you put there, it is assume that the tenant, in this case operator for the cinema, share is at 40%. So you have to write into the answer script to let the examiner know that you are actually making an assumption at 40%. Okay, so this particular part here, let me change this to green, let me highlight. Based on the standard calculation, this is missing. This is where you need to make assumptions, which you are allowed. So the examiner already know that you need to make the operator share at, well, I recommend 40%. If you do not know what is the figure, 40%. Okay, let me remove all this so you have a clear cut. So in this particular format, 1 2 3 4, you have to do, this is number 4, right? Then you have gross annual rent, this is number 6. There you go. You need to memorize the profit method based on the sequences 1 to 9. Then you of course can calculate everything. Yeah, so question 3, they provide you several machines with the installation cost. This is what we call cost approach. Okay, depreciated, replacement cost method. Yeah, now this method has 2 ways. One way, straight line, depreciation, and of course the second one is declining balance depreciation. And for this question, it's very easy to identify because they already gave you the hint here, the keyword here. It is a cost method, it is a DRC, and it's based on DBD, declining balance approach. That's it. So then you can go on to calculate. Number 4, you are a rubber estate. Okay, purposes for financing, automatically based on financing, it is based on market value. You will be determining the market value. So then this subject property is located in Rawang. The subject land is a freehold. So then you know you will do YP in per 1/I. Okay, the topology is flat and there's 200 acres divided in 2 blocks. Now they give you two blocks, and each of the blocks can produce the volume. So the volume. So now the unit here is this. They give you 3 years. So what you do is you take year 1 numbers plus year 2 numbers plus year 3 numbers, divide by 3 years, you get a figure, right? You get a figure in between. In this case, you just calculate, you'll get the figure. So you do that. And then this figure here is a unit. And the unit is in kg of RSS. Now, when you see unit, the next thing is you times the price, which is 50 cents per kg. You get what we call volume. So this particular area here is based on throughput method. That means you have to times all the figures. You must times the kg times the price. Okay, in this case, and then after that you get a earning less production cost. Let me remove the bracket. Okay, and then what you get is, of course, a net profit or divisible balance. Okay, so then you can calculate all the way down. The only thing is this is a rubber plantation. In rubber plantation, let me remove this calculation. We use this particular one is investment method. Okay, and then you can actually see it's 30 years. Okay, so you have a term locked in for 30 years. Okay, and then of course you have a reversionary. That means the land back to vacant. Now for property of rubber estate, after 30 years, the land is normally converted back into what we call empty land. Now you see most of the plantation companies like Dabi company like KL Kapong, and then Marsing Group, or many other palm rubber company, later when they are done with their plantation, they convert it into housing development. So this one, when you convert, it becomes LV, or what we call it land value. When it's land value, we use comparison method. And if you look, let me highlight for you, they already gave you it's 100 per acre, and then you of course use this one will be YP per. For those who are not following my class, you have to look up on this. This one will be of course YP as R. Yeah, okay, that's it. Now based on this question, there's only one thing you need to make, is you must make a ROI for rubber, which is the I, which you can set between 8 to 10%. You choose either figure here, okay, and you make it as an assumption for the examiner to know. Okay, so this is a very simple one. You can see it already, because why? As long as you know a rubber estate, oil palm estate, they will break into two: the term during plant production, that means the plant producing fruits, okay, and then of course reversion to empty land, or the technical term they will use is vacant land. How do we know that? Let me remove all this so that it makes it easy for you to see. You will see that vacant land, the value of vacant land suitable for plum, you see, they actually write here vacant land. So you must know that in rubber, oil palm, it works that the first term is the planting, the second one is of course your reversion. Okay, good. So now we move on to the fifth question. Now the fifth question is, they use a keyword called development land. So you know, by learning RISM, you know that development land, to calculate there is only one method, residue method. Okay. Now the first part of residue method is calculate the GDV, or basically for those people who are not sure what is GDV, is the revenue of being a developer. Okay, so you have R money, what is the size of the property times per unit, and how many units, of course you get the revenue, right? And then they tell you 30% and 70%. Now these are keywords already. If you know from our training, my training, you will know that actually the residue method, these are all the key points we look for. And the best part is the TDC, the development cost, they already give you in the lump sum. TDC as a lump sum, and they give you developer profit at this. So if you can see, the standard residue land value equals to GDV, okay, minus TDC plus developer profit. So there you are. The only thing is, of course, you have to add in the PV, which is equals to 1 bracket 1 plus I over N. For the N, they already tell you clearly. Let me highlight for you. N is always based on development. This is N. Development period, this is 2. Okay. Now you have another issue. Wait, what is the I? Now let's hunt for the I. Right? Let's hunt for the I. You complete with 3, and then there's 19-story condominium. The components are, regardless of few meetings, they indicate it's 2 years. Okay, 2 years. And the cost of development is this. The developer will calculate. So they did not say anything about the I. There is no I. So therefore your I can be, let's say, 9%. Okay, 9% is of course an assumption that you declare to the examiner, okay, ROI of interest rate for finance is at 9%. There you go. You get the formula, then you can discount it. You know, that again, like I said, for anyone doing valuation for RISM, you must always remember or memorize the template that I give to you. So then, of course, the factors, this is a theory question. And then this one is the factor. Pretty not difficult. And okay, the last question is petrol station. Petrol station, automatically this is a profit method. How do I know? Is because petrol station in AV2 is always profit method. Okay, so then the first thing is it's a leasehold, so you have to use YP SR, okay, to calculate, or YP, the proper one will be SR dual rate. But then again, we normally don't use this because it's easier for you to calculate unless you're using the Paris table. Yeah, okay, then when it's operated, then everything. Now let's look at it. it has, they tell you in liters. So the unit here again, unit here is in liters of fuel. Okay, so automatically, let me do it this way. Yeah, here got more space. Unit is in liters of fuel. So it becomes, if you take the liters times the cent, which is this one, the profit, okay, times the profit, you get volume. Okay, then you get earnings. So come back to, again, let me go right back to the number 2 question. You'll see it will be earnings less OPEX. Number 3, net profit. 4, okay, tenant or operator share. 5, gross. 6, and then 7, and then it goes on. So please memorize your profit method templates. Then you will see that it's a trade in cash, and then you have also interest. This one, okay, is trade in and cash, okay, is considered 450 times 6%. Interest on capital. So earlier question, number 2, they gave you interest on capital, right? And then here they actually gave you here again. So done. Okay, so this is of course accounts method. As you can see, this is A, annualized times 12 times 12, A, and the A, and finally A. So now the question is, you must able to identify this one, this particular one is outgoings. So they cleverly made it, everything is like lump sum. Internal and external repair, this one is of course you can put under outgoings. Okay, but just to be sure, it's best you make assumption that it is for the property, because this is a bit vague. Internal and external repair, repair what? The fuel pump, the tire air pump, the road, the water pipe. So we do not know. So it's best you make an assumption that this part is for the property itself, and then of course this is business, and business, and then tax is of course business, and management here again, this management here could be first business management or property management. So to be certain, if you want to use it as property, then you must assume and clearly declare it to the examiner that you view this management as property management, 22,000 per annum. Okay, so with that we have completed 2023 applied valuation 2, and my name is Thong. Have a great day and come back. And for those who are following my classes, you can actually get this information and all the calculation in the shared drive. Take care. Bye bye. I'm Thong. Out.